just didn't quite have enough quality to make up for the first half shit show. I could also say that James Child's eyes are painted on, but I won't. And Neil Ormston got in touch as well, Al, and he said it's good to be back, sort of. In most respects, it felt like we'd never been away, but the game had a bit of a pre-season feel. Clapping the opposition out, no opposing fans, everyone just glad to be there. Wire seemed to play in that vein in the first half too, whilst Child tried too hard to prove he wasn't being swayed by the crowd. Much improvement needed if we want silverware this year. Go on, you had two eyes on this, whereas I only had half an eye on it, so what did you make of it?
Huddersfield looked incredibly impressive in the first half. I think Mark's right. It is some of the best that I've ever seen them play, really. And it was like that from the start. A try within 3 minutes. Now, did the ball bounce forward from Darnell McIntosh's offload? Probably.
Yeah.
But
did it go forward to Darnell McIntosh? Possibly. But it was enterprising play, and they took a chance, and it felt like that's what they did all in the first half, really. They weren't just going to Warrington to make up the numbers, and they were rewarded for their enterprise, is what I thought. And yeah, they just took advantage of chances, like when Ben Curry had the loose carry that got knocked out, Gaskell gets his second try. They just felt like they were very, very free-flowing in attack. And actually, Cogger, kind of Caesar and Gaskell were working together very well for me. And I didn't necessarily think that was going to be the case pre-season, because I didn't think they'd be playing together. But actually, I thought they did very well. Yeah, Gaskell was swinging around the back of them, wasn't he? Really well. And every time he popped up on the left, you thought there was going to be a break. And every time he popped up on the right, you thought, well, he's got Wardle and McGilvery to give the ball to. There's going to be something happening there too.
Yeah, they looked more like the team that we thought they might be in pre-season. Much more threatening in attack. And the Wire were terrible. The only thing that they had in the first half was Austin's bombs, which were difficult to take. I'll give you that. And yeah, obviously that's what got them back into it in the second half. But it didn't feel like Huddersfield had done much wrong. It just felt like it was Wire was starting to get back to more of their type of play. Although I have to say the Clark try was a bit sloppy from Huddersfield's point of view. They were kind of definitely caught napping on that one.
That was when the roll was kind of in Warrington's favour, wasn't it? Though after Inglis had, I mean, how did he get that down? The 4,000 would have loved that one, I suppose.
Yeah, just stronger than the guys who were tackling him. Was he down Wardle's side at that time? I can't remember.
Yeah.
Is that what? Yeah. So he might not be in full fitness as his dodgy hamstring showed, but he's a bigger lad.
Yeah.
than he is. So, but yeah, I think actually Huddersfield did very well to stop the rot, because you can easily see that game running away from them, and that's it's not the first time that's happened to them this year. But they struck back, and yeah, as you say, the moral vacuum, he took it well. As much as you might not want to say so, the try to kind of seal the match was well taken. So for me, Huddersfield fully deserved it.
Was he man of the match? I mean, he was given man of the match. Was he man of the match? Wasn't sort of Caesar and Jones maybe more important to the win than him? But he did come up with big. He was in big moments in the second half in Huddersfield's favour, wasn't he?
He was. We know what it's like sometimes with man of the match. It's all about doing the right thing at the right time, isn't it? And he did that. Good for me. Gaskell was very good. Obviously, a couple of tries, but yeah, he just looked very, very dangerous when he had the ball. So,
from Wire's perspective, like, how much did it change when Crocked Inglis moved out of the fullback position, and Ratchford moved to a position that he was more comfortable in, because he was a little bit dodgy in defence, wasn't he, out on that left side?
Yeah, it's another thing they're trying to accommodate GI, aren't they?
Yeah, but they kind of made two mistakes. By putting Ratchford in a position where he's not as good defensively, and Inglis in a position where he's not fit enough to be playing.
Yeah,
it kind of made two mistakes, didn't it, by Price? And I didn't get his like sort of smugness with Jenna before the game about where Inglis was going to play, because that just makes him look like a daft prick now.
Well, yeah, it does.
Now that they lost.
Yeah, I always think Ratchford at fullback is the first choice for me, and then if he's fit, God, what's his name? The young lad,
Ashton.
But yes, bandy-legged Ashton. Yeah. He's probably my second choice. But yeah, they'll be disappointed. But they're not the only home side who can say that this weekend, I'm afraid.
No, they are not.
Anything else?
No, nothing from me. Standings.
Fair enough, then.
Yeah. Saints and Wigan maintain their 100% starts at the top, 6 from 6. Catalans are up to third on 83.3%. Castleford are on 66.6%, ahead of Wyre and Hull on 58.3%, who make up the top 6. Hull KR are in 7th on 50%. It's a bit of a surprise. Huddersfield and Leeds improving to 33.3%. Salford stay 10th, ahead of Wakefield and Leigh, who are both yet to get off the mark.
Indeed.
Stat line of the week in an incomplete stats roundup, I think, is Bevan French with a try assist, 9 tackle busts, and 201 metres.
Yeah, obviously you have the stats, I don't have them in front of me, but the only one I can remember is Tom Davis at Catalan with a couple of tries and some good metres, so I'll give it to Tom Davis.
Yeah, player of the week's really hard this week to come up with one with what we saw, or more to the point, what we didn't see. So I'm just going to say none of them.
I think that seems a bit mean. I definitely don't want to pick one from Friday's game because nobody was brilliant in that one. So I'm going to pick somebody from the Warrington match, and I'm probably going to go for Gaskell.
Fair enough. Highlight of the week, I would say fans being back in the stadiums is obviously the highlight of the week. Bizarre that, in what were majority home crowds, almost exclusively home crowds in most parts, that 4 of the 5 sides lost on home soil in front of their fans back in the stadiums. Like I say, I think there's maybe a couple of factors that have influenced that there in a couple of the games that I saw, but overall you would have expected that to go the opposite way. But on-field highlights, I think Theo Farge's try was pretty nice to see, actually, and also the rumour mill that's sort of spurned around Theo Farge. Will he be at Leeds? Will he be at Huddersfield? Will he be at Catalans? It sounds like he's going to be somewhere that isn't Saints, which will be great news for Lewis Dodd, I think.
Yeah, I'm just going to stick with having people back in the stadiums. It's just a great thing to have back. So I'm going to stick with that.
Okay, in the predictions, God, it was bad. 2 out of 6 week. I went. David went 3 out of 6, so he wins by default, I think, this week rather than by too much glory. I'm sure he can cozy up with that result after a long, hard day's walking down on the southwest coast. Host Super Root, Alan, you stay at the top above David and Sarah. Tim's wearing the yellow cap this week, and that's moved him off bottom, with me going to the bottom, which is fair enough after 2 out of 6, to be honest.
Yeah, I don't think any of us are having a good year. I mean, I think I'm pretty average in terms of middle of the pack, and yeah, that doesn't say a lot for our tipping this year so far.
No, well, as we've always said, we're fans, not experts, and we're not pundits. In the Subaru, Kyle Dyson wears the yellow cap this week, but Craig the expat Caspan stays top of the table. And I've already alluded, the Fantasy League's a load of bollocks this week. I don't understand it. So I'm just assuming that they're wrong, the numbers, and we're not going to talk about it.
Fair enough.
Thanks everyone for getting their fan views in on those games. Please do remember, again, this weekend coming up, there's only 2 games on telly. Catalan Saints and Leeds and Hull FC. So the other 4 games will be relying on your fan views, especially from people in the grounds. Let us know what it feels like. Send us your pictures as well, and we'll enjoy those too. But yeah, great stuff. Thanks everyone for the fan views on this week's games. Okay, let's trundle over to other results.
So we move into other results, and we start with the Women's Super League. And the first match, it was Wakefield 6, Leeds 74, Warrington 6, St Helens 54. A bit closer to the next 2. Bradford 20, Huddersfield 28, and York 42, Featherstone 14.
Huddersfield's first win, isn't it? That which is
it is.
Which is
it's always a milestone, isn't it?
Yeah, and whilst I'm just going to go and check out the table and see how that's taking shape, Andrea Dobson has been appointed Sheffield Eagles Rugby League Development Officer, so well done to the Fev Rovers player there. Basically, St Helens' points difference percentage is almost infinity. And Bradford's is almost minus infinity, which is hilarious. But it is as you expect with Saints, Cass, Wigan and Leeds on top. But York and Huddersfield have both got their first wins now in the campaign. So that's it's good to see some other sides getting off the mark in things there.
Yeah, you'd expect the York Tigers to start closing in on the teams above them, but anyway.
Yeah, on the Cass Rovers and the Leeds Bulls.
Yeah. It was the Championship also this weekend. It was Batley 6, London 40, back to earth with a bump for Batley.
Yeah, and we got a fan view from Dr. Hideous. He said, a good, clean game with few penalties, what few there were being for technical infringements and not foul play, and also few errors. London were only 18-6 up at the end of the first half with the benefit of the slope, and with their defensive frailties in mind, I wasn't confident of the win, but I needn't have worried. Batley hardly even got into London's 20, which is exactly what a defence coach would want to see.
Yeah, so it finished Widnes 14, York 35. Whitehaven 0, Toulouse 66. Another team that's probably going to end up with infinity points difference by the end of the year. It was Swinton 18, Dewsbury 20. Swinton just can't get over that line for a win. It was Featherstone 68, Oldham 0. So
yeah,
a big
those
win
last
for
two
Fev.
games were moved to the Monday night, weren't they? Whereas Bradford and Newcastle took an opportunity to move their game through to that free weekend we were talking about. That Halifax and Sheffield have also penciled in to get their COVID-affected match on first weekend in June. So those two games didn't happen this weekend, which is why we're only giving 5 results out. But
Indeed.
In the standings, Toulouse and Featherstone stay out on front with 100% records, and Toulouse's points difference percentage is actually 562.5%, so not quite infinity. Bradford are on 80% in third. Bradford are in third.
Unbelievable, Jeff.
Batley fourth with 66.6, and London are now on the rise too, now fifth with 58.3. York, Sheffield and Dewsbury all have 50% records. Halifax have 40%, down in ninth. Whitehaven, Oldham, Newcastle and Widnes come next, ahead of Swinton, who are still to get off the mark at the bottom despite 2 very close, frantic games that they've just edged out on. And do you know what their reward is for those 2 competitive fixtures? A home away game against the Toulouse Olympique side that are going to put 100 up.
Unfortunately, anyway. So it was also League One this weekend, round 2. It finished North Wales 18, Hunslet 26. Good win for Hunslet there. It was West Wales 10, Coventry 36. Another good win for the Bears. Kind of a few late scores there. padding that score a bit. It was Workington 50, the Scholars